is officially third down time, baby. It is the last day of April 30th, 2018. Shout out to my cousin, Keldon Jones. Happy 25th birthday to your brother. That's my brother. I ain't seen him in a while. And just showing my brother some love. On that note, it is third down. I'm your host, T. Wayne the Don. Listen, man, we missed this exciting weekend. Man, the NFL was kicked off. Everything was tipped off with the draft, and that was all good. Looking at what I saw this past weekend, man, I kind of gave my own grade perspective of what I thought would happen over the weekend. So I'm gonna give my own grades to certain teams. I'm not gonna go through all of it. A lot of teams I gave was a solid B's, B pluses and B minuses. The lowest I gave was C's, C pluses and C minuses, maybe to a degree. Solid C's. I ain't give no C minuses. And talk a little bit about the NBA's Game 7 yesterday afternoon. The Cleveland Cavaliers did advance to go play the Toronto Raptors this week. I want to say tomorrow, I believe. I'm just talking about what LeBron got to do. LeBron came out and said that he's tired, bro. I mean, I understand. You got to understand that. The Pels got waxed the other night against the Golden State Warriors. I mean, see how they're going to respond Game 2 tomorrow night. Predict what they're going to have to do to get still a win at Oracle to come back home to New Orleans Friday. Talk a little bit about that. And talk about the Saints draft picks. And that's probably what we're going to do, wrap it up with today. But let's talk about the grades that I did pass out this past weekend's draft. What a great draft we had. They had a lot of great moments. They had a lot of great, it was just an overall and all. It was just a good draft to be drafted. So I'm going to just give you two teams that I gave the highest grade. I gave Arizona an A for what they did in the draft. I think going to get Josh Rosen and also Christian Kirk, give Josh Rosen some potential help. And then they went on offensive line, got Mason Cole, and they got Chase Elements, who's probably going to have another impact with David Johnson as well. So, I mean, the first four picks that they had, very solid picks that's going to potentially help out for the future for the Arizona Cardinals. I think that's really, really huge for what they can do coming forward in the next couple of seasons. Now, let's remember, I mean, how much you really believe in Sam Bradford and Mike Glennon over there. Josh Rosen's going to have a chance to compete. He might not be your day one starter to start the season, but you putting pieces around him to let him succeed for the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals, just a few years ago, they were in the NFC Championship game, and they kind of hit the abyss ever since. They got a new head coach. Bruce Arians is out of there. He retired. And, sad to say, he kind of wish Bruce was there because Bruce is the quarterback whisperer. But he extended Carson Palmer's career a little bit longer than what it should have been. So, very excited to see what's going to happen with Arizona. And they got a solid A from me. Like I said, I'm not going to go through everybody. I mean, I gave Atlanta a B minus actually. They didn't really, to me, they went more with sexy picks, in my opinion. But I gave an A plus to the Baltimore Ravens. And Baltimore actually find themselves in a good position. Baltimore not only set themselves up for the next 5 years, they set themselves up for the next 10 years, in my opinion. They get Hayden Hurst, they get Lamar Jackson, they get Orlando Brown, they get Mark Andrews. I mean, they're getting solid pieces. Jordan Lastly and J.L. Scott, wide receiver, in the draft. I mean, they get another center in this draft. They setting themselves up to be back to Raven football for 10 years plus. Yeah, I think if Lamar Jackson actually pays off and he don't play a snap for you in the next couple of seasons, just really learning behind Joe Flacco, but also people behind Joe Flacco's shoulder, showing him, Joe, I'm here the man. I could take your job. I'm not scared of you, Joe Flacco. I think that Lamar Jackson going to potentially be a productive player in the National Football League. Because when you think about Ravens quarterbacks, I didn't know this about Joe Flacco. It's a funny fact. He haven't made a Pro Bowl in his career. To say the success that he has reached in his career, Joe Flacco is not a Pro Bowl quarterback. It's a shame to say that Tyrod Taylor, his backup on that Super Bowl team, is a Pro Bowl quarterback and not Joe Flacco. Kind of weird to see that. But it's the truth. Joe Flacco is not a Pro Bowler. Sad. So expectations have never been high in that organization when it came down to quarterbacks. The best pure quarterback I think they ever had in that organization, but he's always going to be remembered as a Titan, would be Steve McNair. But probably the best quarterback of all time in that franchise history will probably be Joe Flacco. Expectations not that high to pass up. So Lamar Jackson got a pure opportunity to become better than to be better than his successor. Gotta wait. Very excited to see what he's going to do. I gave the Bills a solid 8 what they did. Didn't have a lot of picks. They made worth with the picks that they had. They had 8 picks. They got Josh Allen in the first round. They got Tremaine Edmonds as well. They got their quarterback. They keep adding more to their defense. You know, I think A.J. McCarron going to be your starting quarterback to start the season. They got Terrion Johnson. I think that's a quality pick. You add more pieces to your secondary. Stare Neal, safety, add more pieces to your secondary. You can't get enough defense in that division playing Tom Brady twice a year. So I gave the Bills an A in this draft. I gave Atlanta a B. I felt like Atlanta didn't draft well. I think they took the sexier pick. They got Calvin Ridley. I think that was a big steal. I think Atlanta could still use a pass rush. They got a defensive lineman in this draft, Darian Center. I don't think that was the best pick for the Falcons at that spot, but it just kind of, is what it is. Kind of a lot of teams were in bad spots this season when it came down to drafting. Like, I get on New Orleans after a while. I want to see about what New Orleans did. Just going through, I gave Carolina a B. Once again, I think they kind of just didn't bad spots in the draft. They didn't really get the best quality players. I gave Chicago a B minus. I still think they could have used some more. Let's look what Chicago did get in the draft. They got a linebacker. They got a center. Just the positions a lot of teams was in, a lot of talent past these teams. I think Chicago could use more of a help in the secondary to me as well. I think they could use more help on the. I think I would love to get that offensive line a little more beefed up for Mitch Trubisky. Give Mitch Trubisky more weapons. I mean, they really don't have a lot of weapons on the perimeter to a degree. I know they went side Ashon Robinson, but still, that's a work in progress. I mean, Marquise Lee. They re-signed Marquise Lee, but I mean, that's still a work in progress. Didn't really do nothing for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year. So, no, Allen Hurts. One of them boys from Jacksonville. Sorry, I messed it up. But, got a long way to go for the Chicago Bears. But I do like Raekwon Smith. I think that's a good quality pick to build on that defense for the next couple of seasons. I still think Chicago got a long way to go to be contenders in the NFC North. But having Raekwon Smith and you just put pieces around him, I think that's going to build this team up as well. So I give him a B minus. I think they had a decent draft. Let's move on. Cincinnati, I give Cincinnati an A. Cincinnati did a lot of things. They got Billy Price on the offensive line, their first pick, and majority from there they got a lot of defensive players. They wound up getting a steal out of Malik Jefferson going so late. So I like what Cincinnati did in the draft, and I think that they had a pretty solid draft. Cleveland, the Cleveland Browns a B plus. I was kind of upset that they passed on. I wasn't upset they passed on Nick Chubb. I thought they would have went on the offensive line that 4th pick. And once again, I'm gonna stop on Cleveland right quick. Cleveland had a very solid draft. I mean, they got the quarterback they wanted. They got Baker Mayfield. They got Denzel Ward. I understand if you want to have a successful DB, go to the University of Ohio State. They took a reach with Antonio Callaway. Very solid player, but just have a lot of off-the-field issues. And the reason why I say they took a reach because they had problems already with one of their better receivers in Josh Gordon. So, I mean, I don't know why would they want to add more trouble to their receiving core, but he really is a solid player. They got Nick Chubb to be their running back. I think that's very, 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 very solid. They got Austin Colbert, offensive guard. They didn't draft an offensive tackle in this draft. I thought they was going to do that to replace Joe Thomas. That's why I thought that second pick they had in the first round, I thought they was going to go more offensive tackle, probably try to get the best offensive tackle to replace him, but they didn't. They wound up going with Ward, and from there, that kind of just slid the draft up from there, and kind of people started to fall back in this draft. So I was kind of upset that Cleveland didn't go on the offensive line, but it's okay. I mean, I guess, that's why I gave them a B plus. I said, it's the Browns. I mean, they got something to be proud of for sure. I gave Dallas a B. I gave Denver a B minus. I gave them a B minus because, granted, they had a solid draft in this draft class. I think because getting Chubb, they got Cortland Sutton, Isaiah Yadam. I mean, they got some pieces, but they still didn't get their quarterback. I wanted Denver to get a quarterback in this draft. I mean, they said this morning, Reason said this morning that possibility that they was going to fall back in the draft, but when Bradley Chubb fell to 5, they took him at 5, so I understand why they took him at 5. Problem is, I guess I'm looking at it from this standpoint. Case Keenum really going to have to be your guy this year. And, I mean, Case Keenum, yes, he got Minnesota to the NFC Championship game, but I'm still a believer. I'm trying to get my cousins to understand this. What did he do in the Saints game? He didn't make enough plays, especially in that second half. New Orleans caught on to the second half, and really and truly, they shouldn't have been in the NFC Championship game. And when he got to Philadelphia, he got exposed. So that's what I'm saying, to a degree, how much you really going to put your trust in Case Keenum in that division, the AFC West? Now, granted, defensively, when you think about in the NFC North, you have, you have the best defense in the division. Green Bay defense shaky. You know what I'm saying? Then you also have that division, Detroit, who's been up and down for the last couple of years. Shaky. You know what I'm saying? And then you still have Chicago, youth, shaky. You know, so in that division, you can really ball if you make just being a game manager, making the right decision. Now you got to go play out there in Denver, where you have to play Kansas City, who's a loud place. That defense get rocking, they rocking. Then you also got to play San Diego, who got Derwin James, Joey Bosa, and Ingram and them boys. Solid draft for Los Angeles. And then you also got to go out there and play the Oakland Raiders, who can give fits at times. So I don't know if I could put my trust in Case Keenum all the way yet, but he got some pieces to go in the right direction. And if it don't work out for Denver, I think Denver got to really they're going to be back at the drawing board next season. I mean, I don't want to see the Broncos sitting back and then with 5 wins, 4 wins, or how many wins they had this past season. I mean, that's not Denver Bronco football. That's not. I mean, they want the more exciting teams to watch in the NFL. Detroit, I like what Detroit did. I think Detroit, I gave them a solid B. They didn't have a lot of pieces, but the best player I think they took, to me, and they're going to set the attitude because how he ran at Auburn will be Kerryon Johnson. I like Kerryon Johnson going over there with Matthew Stafford in the backfield. They got to establish the run to help him out, man. I think that was, and then they even went and got a fullback in the last pick, Nick Baldwin, fullback. So they in the 7th round. So I definitely like that they trying to set the tempo. Like, we going to run the football. We're going to be very physical. So I like what Matt Patricia's starting to do over there in Detroit right now. Green Bay had a heck of a draft, in my opinion. I gave Green Bay a solid A, because they got 2 corners, Jaire Alexander and Josh Johnson. I mean, they got a steal when it came down. And then they got Jemon Moore, another receiver. They got to replace some of these receivers they're losing. Go on with Jimmy Graham. The biggest one, I think, was Equanis St. Brown. I wanted St. Brown to come to New Orleans so bad. He's a raw receiver, but he's going to get better out of all this. Green Bay had a solid draft. Plus, they gained a draft pick for next season with the New Orleans Saints going up to get Marcus Davenport in at the 14th pick in the draft. So Green Bay all in all had a solid draft. So shout out to the Green Bay Packers for having a great draft. Houston Texans, not too much, because you realize they had to give up a lot to go get Deshaun Watson last year. Decent draft. I think they got a long way to go. Decent draft. I gave Houston a solid B minus. They got pieces to help out for the team. I gave Indianapolis. Indianapolis went like they trying to get their offensive line straight with Quentin Nelson. That was their first pick. Then they came back in the second round to get Brandon Smith as another offensive guard. So it looked like Indianapolis trying to beef up their offensive line in the process. They got 2 running backs in this draft as well. Naaman Hines, 4th round pick. Then they went and got another running back in this draft as well. Jordan Wilkins, 5th round pick. So it looked like they want to establish the run game, protect Andrew Luck, get Andrew Luck comfortable again, be a contender again in the AFC to get back to the